What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PG Sports Podcast. Special guest today is Khristina Williams, Girls Talk Sports. We're going to talk about why she created it, how she created it, sports news. I saw the horse update today, the NBA, and WNBA players. So that'd be cool. Oh. What's up, Spencer? What's up, Brandon? What's up? We're having Khristina Williams on today. Sending her the question now. What's up, Greg? How's everyone doing today? It's raining on my end. I don't know what's going on. Let's add Khristina. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Pretty good considering I didn't even know what day was today.
I know. So confusing these days, right?
I really thought it was Friday today.
I don't blame you. Yeah, every day seems like the same.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much. How's going into Corona? How has it affected your business?
Well, my platform is really a digital media company, so I mean, coronavirus affected my sports platform because obviously we can't attend live events. Sports are just canceled. So like in that sense, we can't attend sports events, but the coverage is still there, right? There's still stories to tell. There's still some of the WNBA stuff that's happening. And I feel like also it just kind of helped me re-strategize as far as content. So, I mean, that's really how Corona affected my business in that sense. Like there's no live sports. So you have to re-strategize and think of ways to pump out new content.
Gotcha. How did you start Girls Talk Sports and why?
So I started Girls Talk Sports TV in the summer of 2018. And I started it because, well, one, at that time in my life, I was actually supposed to help launch a women's sports league in New York City. And in the process of it, I stepped down because I felt like it didn't really align with what I wanted to do as far as like what I felt my purpose was. And so I started Girls Talk Sports TV because, one, I saw the lack of representation of women who looked like me inside the sports industry. And also I didn't see a lot of diversity. And also I love basketball and I love sports, so why not? So it was just like a marriage of my two passions of sports and journalism, storytelling, media. And that's pretty much how it started. And also on the back end, I had a lot of women reaching out to me over those months that I was working on the basketball league, reaching out to me asking, well, I used to play D1 basketball, but I actually don't want to play basketball anymore. I actually want to get on the media side. How can you help me do that? And so I felt that it was important to start this platform for those women as well, those former athletes who wanted to still be a part of the game outside of the court. And so when I first launched, we had the first group of girls come in who were like all D1 athletes and their own respective rights. And now they've all moved on to like bigger companies, which is great. Like my platform helped launch them to get to where they want to go. So I thought that was cool too. So Girls Talk Sports TV was created to really create a voice and visibility for women in the sports industry, but also give former athletes a chance to have an opportunity to still be around sports outside of the court, the field. So
That's dope. You gotta come up with a graphic and like you put your logo and then like where they went after.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely working on it. So I have one girl who I actually went to college with. Her name is Marjorie. She was on the creative side and the back end, and now she's a camera woman at News 12. So she actually wanted to do videography work. So now she's working at News 12. Who else? One of the girls is at ESPN. One just got hired at ABC San Diego. Obviously, Ari was contributing, and she's at Bleacher Report. So that's kind of cool to see where everyone ended up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw the horse thing. I mean, obviously they were talking about it, but I saw it on your page this morning. So
Right.
what do you think? You broke the news to me. So what do you think? What do you think of that just in general? And then what do you think of them including WNBA players?
So honestly, I love that we're getting a horse competition in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. We saw what the NBA did with the 2K tournament, and including also women's basketball players inside of that tournament. I think the NBA and the WNBA are a family, right? And we're in this together. And so I think it's great that they're including women, especially a legend like Tamika Catchings, who was just inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Allie Quigley from the Chicago Sky straight shooter. I think it'll be interesting. I think Allie is going up against Chris Paul, and then Tamika will be going up against Trae Young, if I'm not mistaken. So it's definitely going to be exciting, especially to see Tamika back on the court and like participating in basketball. It's going to be so interesting. I'm excited for the tournament to happen. And yeah, it comes on ESPN on April 12th. So definitely tune in.
Yeah, my instant thought was when I saw like the retired players, I'm like, I don't know, like if that, like hopefully they don't look bad.
I think that once you're an athlete, always an athlete. So like definitely they're probably preparing. And then it's a fun game like horse, right? So it's not that serious. It's competitive. It's fun. So I mean, and Allie, I mean, she's been off season, but she just came back from Russia from playing overseas. So she's probably still hot right now. Yeah, Tamika, you know, working with the Indiana Fever. Paul Pierce is going to be in a wheelchair. It's going to be interesting. Paul Pierce actually, he did make a comment about wanting to join the Big Three's quarantine reality show. So we'll see if that happens next month, if he will join that as well. But I'm excited to see this horse tournament and see who comes out on top.
Yeah, what are they? I know you cover the Big Three a lot. So what are they doing? They're having like a reality show?
So obviously the pandemic is affecting all sports. And so Ice Cube and the partners at the Big Three, they partnered up with the producers from Big Brother, CBS's TV show Big Brother. And what they're going to try to do is do a quarantine style 3 versus 3 reality show tournament. And so this will be a preseason kind of tournament because their tournament is still expected to happen this summer in LA. They readjusted some of the dates. So the reality show really will just chronicle what life would be like for the athletes in quarantine. And then also they would play a 3 versus 3 competition game. And also the kicker is basically whoever breaks quarantine will be eliminated. And what else? And yeah, they'll choose 16 players from the Big Three, test them for coronavirus, make sure everyone tests negative before they're quarantined together in the house.
So they are going in a house together.
So yes, so they're gonna rent out a house in LA, build a court in the house, and just chronicle the daily lives of the players and also the tournament. And so you'll get the best of both worlds with getting a little bit of basketball and getting a little bit of reality TV, and then you have that aspect of Big Brother. And I know all of the guys from the Big Three, so I think it's going to be exciting to see them on TV and for the world to see their personalities. What's up, Renee? So I'm excited for the world to see all of the big personalities. They said that Joe Johnson is supposed to join on, Zebo, and a few others. So it's going to be super exciting.
It's going to be pretty interesting.
It will be.
and it just seems weird because you're not really supposed to be with that many people, but whatever, I guess.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Now, there's pros in that this tournament will give people, a glimpse of sports, right? In a time where sports has been canceled or suspended. Now, the downside to that is it's being a lot of pushback because a lot of people are like, well, why are you using this pandemic to gain financially or, to take tests away from people who actually need it? So Ice Cube and the Pre-3 League are really going to have to, angle this tournament, this reality show, to really bring more awareness to the pandemic and how it's affecting the community.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the live with Damian Lillard and Aaron Judge yesterday.
I didn't see that one yesterday.
So
what happened?
Damian Lillard was just talking about, like, he felt uneasy, like, releasing, like, the new color wave of his sneaker at this time.
Right. I mean, it's a trying time. Unemployment is up by over 6 million. 6 million people have filed for unemployment in the last week. And so, it is trying times for a lot of families, and people are getting hit hard financially because of the pandemic. And so I think that it's great of Damian Lillard to, relate to people in that sense and, not try to profit in this time. And, a lot of NBA players, a lot of W players, a lot of athletes and organizations are giving back and helping those in need. So I think it's great. Yeah, Sue Bird, actually, she had donated some money a few weeks ago to a Twitter giveaway, give away groceries. I know a few other W players have also donated and given back as well. So they're putting their money where their mouths are, literally, helping people and using their platforms to raise awareness. So I think it's great.
So back to the horse competition, who do you have winning?
Well, I'm going to be biased because I cover WNBA. So I'm going to say I want to see Tamika Catchings win. She just was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so I'm rooting for her. Why not? The vet, the legend.
All right. You both have seen really good example of content.
Have you seen? I have seen really, really, really good content by brands during this time of quarantine, social distancing. I'm going to be biased and say mine because obviously why not? And also I like what the NBA obviously is doing with the Instagram lives. I feel like a lot of people are being more personable with their content and, getting directly to the audience. I really love what the Players Tribune is pushing out.
I'll tell you in a second.
So I didn't see who all is on there, who is in the competition. So for the horse competition, it's Trae Young, Chauncey Billups, Paul Pierce, Allie Quigley, Tamika Catchings, Zach LaVine,
Mike Conley.
And Mike Conley. So, yeah.
Zach LaVine, like, all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Now he's a shooter, apparently. I saw he broke Ben Gordon.
He's a pro. Yeah. So he'll get it done. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. I'm being biased, and I'm rooting for one of the WNBA players. So I'm
curious how they're filming this too. Like, so someone from ESPN is just going to go to their house or wherever they're going.
So I believe that each player will either they have courts already on their property, or they'll build one, or be at a facility. But
it's just so weird.
Be biased, yes. So I'm rooting for all the women in the competition.
Yeah, and what about going into the WNBA draft? I think it's next week, right? Next Friday.
So the WNBA draft is still happening. It's going to be happening virtually on ESPN, which is great. They moved it from ESPN to ESPN. It's going to happen virtually, so everybody definitely tune in to the WNBA draft. It's very exciting. Obviously, for many reasons, it's talent off the chains this season, and everyone's excited to see where all the players are going. And so, like, mock drafts have been coming out. Obviously, we know Sabrina's going to come to my city, New York. I'm wearing my New York Liberty mint green colors. Just being biased, but yeah, it's super exciting. Dallas, they have I think they have several picks in the first round, 4 first-round picks Are they going to dress up?
Yeah, probably.
Renee, you are so wrong for that. I would hope they would dress up. I think like they haven't really told us the full format of the draft, how we'll get to see the players. I assume they will like set up satellites like in their house, and you can see like how each person will, you know, when they get chosen or whatever. But yeah, I have Sabrina going number 1, and Satu going number 2, and Lauren going number 3.
You got any bold predictions? Like,
not really. I mean, with all the picks in the first round, the Dallas being selected.
They got like 4 picks, right?
Everybody. But Renee, I think Kennedy is going to Atlanta Dream. So you guys are definitely getting a good pickup with her. She's an amazing guard. Athleticism is off the chains. So
yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, obviously, for the virtual draft.
Everybody.
Yeah. I don't know what they're exactly going to do for the virtual draft, but I think they could come up with something cool. Because, I mean, there has been NFL players that didn't go to the draft.
Man, I mean, so a lot of people are saying that the NFL should just cancel everything for sure, but we know that's not going to happen. And
yeah.
I think that the Wnba Draft happening virtually, especially airing on ESPN, is a great thing for women's basketball. It's going to get like a lot of people who probably would have never watched otherwise to tune in and to see what the league is about. And also, I love that Sabrina, the attention she's getting, and like yesterday she posted that she was in the gym with Steph Curry, which is kind of cool to see him kind of carrying on that legacy with Kobe Bryant, and like, you know, being an advocate for women's basketball and like bringing more attention to the sport, right, and making it more interesting. What have you heard? What they will do?
No, that's what we were just talking. We don't really know yet.
What are your thoughts on the W being more integrated as the NBA is?
Globally,
I think it's great. The more exposure and visibility, the better, right? So I think it's a great thing. And the NBA and WNBA are a family. It's not. I mean, it's 2 separate things, but it's one and the same, right?
Yeah.
So, the more integration, the better.
Yeah, I think it went like kind of a little viral when I think LeBron wore an Aces like warm-up shirt last year. Maybe it was last year. Maybe it was 2018. I don't remember.
But I feel like male athletes have been doing that way before people was just. I mean, because it's LeBron James.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Anything LeBron James does.
Yes, exactly, Renee. It's a brotherhood, sisterhood. Like you've seen it happen, you know, for the past few decades of NBA players, Michael Jordan, like supporting the WNBA and things like that. So, I mean, people are just catching attention to it who are not supporters of the W because it's a LeBron James, a Josh Hart, a Kobe Bryant, you know, like advocating, which is great. So, any little bit helps, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard me before because I think it cut out for a minute, but like, you know how like the NFL draft and sometimes the players don't come because they just don't want to and they're virtual anyways.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, like we kind of saw it before to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. It'll be the first ever virtual draft in the WNBA. Hopefully, no technical difficulties.
Or the Zoom. I think they're talking about. I think all the NFL was talking about using Zooms, but they're like worried about the privacy thing because apparently people have been like hacking to get in. So that'd be crazy.
Yeah, Zoom is a lifesaver during this pandemic, right? Zoom.
Yeah.
I've had like virtual happy hours on Zoom, all types of meetings, all types of things happening on Zoom. So Zoom has definitely saved a lot of lives.
Yeah, for sure. What about what's like something you learned starting your own business?
Something I learned starting my own business. Well, I've always known this in my life, but the most important thing when you want to be in any industry is building relationships and authentic relationships. And I think that's like the number one thing because people are always asking, oh, how can I get started or how can I be successful? And it's like, just be real with people and just build real authentic relationships. That's the single most important thing you can do. And also your reputation precedes you in a lot of spaces. So just be a nice person. Full relationships that go beyond just, you know, the court or the sideline.
Yeah, definitely. What about what's like your future goals for Girls Talk Sports TV?
The future for Girls Talk Sports TV. So during this pandemic, I've had the opportunity to definitely reevaluate a lot of different things about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, the platforms I'm using, and things like that. And so even in the next few weeks, you'll start to see a lot of different things being pumped out. I have a few interviews happening tomorrow, some happening next week, as far as player interviews and things like that, sports professionals and things like that. So getting that pumped out. But the ultimate goal for Girls Talk Sports TV, I'm trying to be like Oprah of the sports. You know, I want my own sports channel. That's the ultimate long-term goal, right? To have a sports channel with sports news as told by women, from the perspective of women, and delivering that content. And, you know, it always amazes me when I like walk into arenas and stuff and people are like, oh, I follow your page. Literally last year at the Final Four, I was in the airport at Tampa and I was standing next to a woman and I was on my phone. I guess she looked over my shoulder and she was like, oh, I follow that page, Girls Talk Sports TV. And then she looked at me again and she was like, wait, you run that page. So that was kind of cool to like see that. It means that people are tuning in, people are coming to the page to see sports news, especially, and then it means that people are interested in women's basketball. So, you know, definitely feel like the goal is to grow bigger and better. But I also like the fact that I'm covering leagues that people are not really into, in a sense, like the big three, you know, and the W, and like bringing some attention to those leagues.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, that's how pretty much I got into like boxing and MMA because now, like, well, MMA is bigger, I guess you'd say, in a media perspective, but boxing wasn't getting as much coverage as it. I mean, now it kind of is, but it depends on the fight, obviously. But yeah, so that's one reason why I did it, like niche marketing, basically.
Right, exactly. Niche marketing and news, definitely a thing. How have you been? Like, what is your life been like in quarantine?
Well, now I'm kind of getting burnt out by doing interviews because I did so many, and because everyone's saying yes now. Right. Yeah, so I mean, it's cool, but we got a lot of editing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
has more people been responding to you now?
I mean, I've really never had an issue with people responding to me, but I feel like a lot of creatives or a lot of people in the sports space felt like when sports was canceled or suspended, it was the end all be all. And
I started
that's not
2 days.
Yeah, that's not the case. Like this is definitely the time where creatives can grow and re-strategize and really, you know, rethink how they're delivering the news and go beyond stats and scores. Like every athlete has a story, right? Mm-hmm. And so really think about how you can tell those stories.
Yeah, definitely. Like what other things have you learned? Like, I'm assuming you learned how to like make the graphics and
well, I actually have a degree
in
journalism. Let's start there.
Okay. Where did you go to school anyways? I don't even know.
I have a degree in journalism, and so prior to creating Girls Talk Sports TV, I was actually reporting, but doing it on the fashion and entertainment side. And so like doing that crossover. So like I learned how to, you know, do graphics and all of that from school, like that training in college, but also working in the field. So, yeah, I mean, you have to get creative sometimes, right? Because if you don't have a laptop on you and you're out in the street or somewhere and sports news breaks or you get a press release or, you know, a source gives you something and you want to post it, right? You have to download apps. So like, there's a lot of different apps that I use for graphics and things like that to do things quickly. Mobile journalism, like seeing how you can navigate in that sense and being a mobile journalist has become a thing. And also, it's so interesting. I think a comedian posted something about cable TV being going to be obsolete or something about movie theaters. Movie theaters will eventually all be obsolete. And it's interesting because this new app just launched called Quibi, and all of the content is like 10 minutes or less. And I think that app will be successful because the attention span of many people, the attention span is decreasing, right? And so we're now seeing news, movies, TV shows, and everything being condensed to 10 minutes or less. And so like people in the digital space will be very successful because that's kind of the model of how we work. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how journalism translates and like entertainment in general, because everyone's attention span is becoming shorter. So delivering news in a in like a, what do you call it, in like a little small blurb.
Yeah.
You know, I try to do it on my page with just pointing out the facts when it comes to stories. And, you know, all of my Instagram posts, at least, I try to use at least 2 or 3 sources to confirm stuff. I try not to be wrong. And I try to hold true to my journalistic integrity when it comes to posting sports stories as well. So I think my followers appreciate that.
Yeah, where'd you go to school?
I went to school out here in New York City, a school called Hunter.
Yeah, at college?
Took some courses at Harvard Business School last year as well. So
How was that?
challenging, hard, expensive. But like I try to learn as much as I can and absorb as much as I can so that I can be successful. I definitely just got recommendations from one of the MBA execs to take some marketing courses. So I'll be doing that as well online, just to learn, you know, like I love learning. So
At a college?
No, it's just, I think it's like a boot camp or something like that. And so like taking those courses to learn more about digital marketing and being successful in the digital space. So.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you something funny. When I was a senior, I took a class and it was like sports new media, but it was really like social media.
What?
Sports new media.
Sports new media? What did you learn from the sports?
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because I mean, that was my guy, but it was my what's it called? Not guidance counselor or advisor or whatever, but he was like older, probably like in his 70s. But he was cool, but he didn't know anything about it. So the whole thing was the sports new media was considered like social media.
That's a piece of it. See, the school that I went to when I was at that school, it was like the first year that they have ever implemented like the news reporting, broadcasting kind of journalism. Mm-hmm. And the woman who took over the program, she was like a former ABC producer and anchor, CNN, and all those big prestigious, you know, networks. And so when she came in, she definitely, it was like my first year. It was like the best experience of my life. One, because I thought I knew everything. I was like, wait, well, I already do this. Like, you know, high school, I've been on TV, I've been on MTV, I was on this and that. And then like to learn how to do it from a hard news perspective and get actual training from, we had the CBS network head come in once a week. We had producers that were working on shows for news networks come in to critique our work. So we would film shows and they would critique us. And, you know, like the first few weeks I struggled. I was so bad because I was like, oh, wait, this is like a step back from like entertainment and fashion. There's actual technique when you're broadcasting on a news, you know, program. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting to learn that, to get my news voice, to learn how to do that. And yeah, so I was very fortunate, but I love journalism. I love the art of reporting, and there's actual technique. And, you know, it sucks that now you see a lot of like influencers and stuff taking the jobs of like actual reporters, but the art of journalism shouldn't be lost and it shouldn't be taken for granted, especially like you see now in times like this, how important it is to have all of the facts when it comes to what's happening in the world, and, you know, well-researched thoughts, ideas, stories. So
yeah, well, I'll tell you some kind of example of that. Like I had like an actual actor on and then like a Instagram actor on my podcast.
Oh yeah.
And I asked them both to get into character and like say something. Mm-hmm. And who do you think did it and who do you think didn't do it?
The actual actor did it, of course.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's so crazy. I actually have a degree in theater too.
Yeah.
I have multiple degrees, but like I have a degree in theater or acting or whatever you want to call it. So that actually helped with my on-camera experience and being comfortable with talking to people as well. Because taking acting classes and getting a degree in it and learning the art of performing on stage. So that's one of the degrees I hold outside of journalism. But yeah, I mean, even that helps.
So you want to be an actress?
No, I mean, I have been in films. I was in this Netflix film called Embrace. Well, it's not by Netflix, but there was a film that released 3 years ago. It's a documentary about body image positivity, because I'm huge on that. Like, I believe that everyone's...
Oh, yeah, I've seen your post on that.
Right, so I was in that movie. It released worldwide, and then it streamed on Netflix, and now I believe it's on Amazon Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called Embrace, and Taryn Brumfitt is the director. And yeah, so I've been in movies. I've been acting.
You got the IMDb page?
Actually, one of my first acting gigs. This is really funny. I don't think if you know me in real life, then like you would know this story. But one of my first acting checks came from NBC 30 Rock, and I was cast to do something. Do a scene with Tracy Morgan. I said Tracy McGrady. Tracy Morgan, and the scene got cut from the final cut of the episode. But it was so funny. Like I was like 18 years old, I think, and we were doing a scene, and he made fun of me and told me I had a butt chin in between takes, so he made me feel really bad. But he introduced me to like Tina Fey, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, sorry, and like all of those different people. That was like one of my first checks, and they cut the scene. I was so pissed off. I remember my dad took me to Silver Cup Studios here in New York to film, and we were on set for like 14 hours. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be on TV. My first check, NBC 30 Rock. Oh yeah. And then like the scene was cut, but I did get to meet one of my really good friends. Her name is Susan Hayward. She's an actress, and she was on Orange Is the New Black. So we met, and so I got a friend out of it, I guess. And that was like one of my first TV checks. But I don't think I want to be an actor. I like doing what I'm doing: sports, journalism.
Gotcha.
Telling stories in that way, real stories.
Yeah. So would you want to do something like a documentary though? Not like you being like the host or
that's
whatever.
That's definitely in the long-term works for Girls Talk Sports TV network.
Yeah.
Putting it out there, right? Because I really believe that I can own my own network, and so that's ultimately what I want to do, and bump out original sports content told from the perspective of women. And I think that documentaries is definitely could be in the works. Short form documentaries, 10 minutes or less for sure.
What's like one women's sport that you haven't really covered, maybe a lot of, that you want to cover more of?
I haven't done my due diligence with covering women's soccer. So I think that I could cover that more, and also hockey, giving them more of the spotlight.
They got some teams around here.
Well, actually, so when Girls Talk Sports TV first launched in 2018, it was covering all sports, and I was doing all sports. And then my first wave of girls, they moved on and went to networks and stuff. And so then I had a situation happen where I had to rebrand everything. And so I did the rebranding. And then for the past, July, August, September, February, March. For the past 8 months, I've been really rooting the foundation of Girls Talk Sports TV and women's basketball. One, because that's the thing that I'm most knowledgeable of, but also when I get the second wave of girls, right, we're going to continue to branch out and do all of the other sports. And so now that I rebranded, I feel like everything is working out for the better. I was featured in Essence in January as a Black woman changing sports culture, just getting different access to different sports and athletes and things like that. So now that my foundation is kind of more solidified within the sports industry, and people see me as more of a credible person in the sports industry, now that I can branch out with the second wave of Girls Talk Sports TV coming into year 2, July 9th, 2020.
Wait, what's coming in July 9th? Did I miss it? Year two
of Girls Talk.
Oh, that's why I was like, wait. Oh.
Everything's coming July 9th.
Yeah, so so you said you're just doing women's sports right now. Or you're trying, or like that's your main focus?
So right now the foundation to what I'm building is around women's basketball, but there will be a second wave where covering the NFL, obviously covering the big three, going back to NFL, but also we don't know what's going to happen with sports in the next few months, right? So really for me, it's just reaching out to more creatives on the back end and getting them to pump out content and share their talents creatively, right? Videographers, storytellers, things like that.
Yeah, I think women's pro soccer is pretty interesting because it's like when they're on the national team, they're up here, but then when they're on the league team, like nobody even really knows about that league.
I actually met Carly Lloyd. So NBC Sports had invited me to an On Her Turf event for like C-suite level executives. And I'm like, boy, why am I invited? I just, whatever. I have my little sports platform. And Carly Lloyd was there, and she spoke about what it was like to kind of, for the U.S. women's national team to, one, stand up for what they believe in and advocate for, equal pay and better working conditions and things like that, like leveling that playing field, but also the exposure and visibility that they've received in the last few months from doing that has definitely been a huge plus for women's soccer. So,
Yeah, definitely.
it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like I said, it's like pretty interesting, like how high they are on the national level, but like the pro league, it's like not like pretty much nothing.
Well, soccer is also a very expensive sport. There was a few reports that came out about how at the youth level, there's a disparity, right? An economic disparity in participation in youth sports because of, environment that people are in. Underserved kids cannot afford to play in AAU sports tournaments or things like that. And I so love Kobe Bryant for what he built with the Wnba Sports Academy. I literally saw him in my neighborhood in Harlem, where I grew up, next door to my elementary school that I went to, launching Wnba Sports Academy in New York City and Harlem. So, like, programs like that is a huge plus to kind of level the playing field when it comes to youth sports and making sports available to youth in that sense, because some sports can be very expensive. Steph Curry, with what he's doing with golf and HBCUs, he announced that he's giving scholarships, to make that available to underserved communities and people. So it's just all about having the opportunity and leveling the playing field when it comes to that. And so then if you start it at the youth level, you'll see it change to the pros. So just giving underserved communities that kind of exposure to sports will definitely help in the long run.
Yeah. What about have you ever thought about getting into women's boxing? I'm just
I
throwing
am
out.
into women's boxing.
Right.
What? So when we first started Girls Talk Sports TV, one of the girls, her name is Kelly Loftus, and she played D1 at Old Dominion. She actually interviewed with Tandria Jones, who was the first ever female boxer signed with Floyd Mayweather, and she is undefeated. So we interviewed her, and even in that sport, just to see like the differences between male boxing and women in the boxing field, and the exposure gets. We saw like a huge rush with Layla Ali, and now we see Clarissa and what she's doing. So making boxing more exciting again for women as well, and breaking those stereotypes. Like, you don't have to be a certain way, look a certain way to participate in the sport or to be interested in it. So we're definitely seeing a new wave in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, kind of biased, but I think like boxing stories are like the best. Like, you could, like, with documentaries and stuff, it's just great.
Oh yeah, I mean, every athlete has a story to tell, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about finding what that story is and creating it. And so, I mean, we see, like, one of my favorite pages to follow is obviously Players Tribune, but also like Uninterrupted, and we're seeing now that athletes are taking matters into their own hands and creating their own digital platforms. Kevin Durant, 35 Ventures, LeBron James, Spring Hill Entertainment, everything he's doing with Uninterrupted. You're seeing, I think, Carmelo Anthony and a few others, the Playmakers or something like that. So you're seeing athletes take matters into their own hands, literally, to tell stories that are important from the perspective of the athlete. And I think that that's a huge plus and a huge win, because now you get to see, it kind of humanizes the athlete, beyond the surface of who they are and who we may think they are. So I love that athletes are taking matters into their own hands, creating their own digital platforms, creating their own entertainment and sports platforms, and putting out their own stories. Kevin Durant, I was just watching the documentary he produced on Netflix called Cue Ball, about how the Warriors had the program and the prison system, and like doing a tournament and what that meant to those guys who were locked up, many of them for life, right? So like putting a spotlight on everything beyond the court, because it's bigger than basketball, right? It's bigger than soccer. It's, so connecting purpose with passion.
Yeah.
You get magic out of that. So
what about, who's like one person you really want to interview or do like a video with or something.
The list is so long, but
You gotta give me someone. I don't know your favorite. You like number one, like your number one.
my God, that list is so long. Um, dang, you put me on the spot.
How about like someone that you'd get and you'd be like, yo, I don't even have to do any more interviews anymore.
Dang. Well, I interviewed Lisa Leslie this summer. That was kind of cool for the Big Three, and got to spend some time with her on tour. So that was kind of cool. That was like my childhood idol. But if I had to choose another athlete, Serena Williams, of course. Why not? Huge inspiration for Black women and young athletes everywhere. And on the male side, I would have to say Dwayne Wade.
All right.
Like, I remember, like, I would love to interview Dwayne Wade. He's retired, but I hope that still counts.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, what about like what are you watching on Netflix right now?
Netflix. So I watched Tiger King. I actually enjoyed it. I thought that the Joe Exotic character was hilarious. It's sad like how it ended up. I don't want to give any spoilers, but everyone's been talking about Ozark, right? And so I've been watching that, but I couldn't get past like the first 2 episodes for like a week. So first I was like, oh man, like
what's season 1?
I'm on season 2 now, episode 5. So it took me a little bit to like really get interested in the show because I saw everybody on Twitter talking about it. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. So I'm watching Ozark. On HBO, I'm watching Insecure when it comes back out, Issa Rae. What else am I watching? I really don't like watching TV. I know that's weird, but like sometimes on TV I don't like watching it. But I like reruns. I've been watching movies. My friends have been hosting Netflix parties, which is an extension on Google Chrome. So we've been watching movies together and chatting in that sense. What else is on Netflix? I have no. I'm more interested in watching documentaries and stuff. So
yeah, I definitely watch more.
I watched
TV
The Scheme on HBO. Have you watched that one?
The Scheme?
The Scheme.
No. What's that about?
It's basically about the federal lawsuit that happened a few years ago, not like last year or maybe 2 years ago, with this guy who I feel like they pinned this on him, the NCAA, but they basically did a federal investigation about how coaches and players were being paid off to play for certain programs. And so that documentary.
Oh, yeah. Is it with, like the Arizona coach was on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's crazy because I remember when that whole case was happening 2 years ago. It's crazy, like when the news broke that they, were launching it. But yeah, I watched that. That was kind of cool. But I love to watch me some good documentaries on Netflix.
You seen the Vince Carter one?
I have not yet. But maybe
I haven't.
Actually, no, wait, I did watch it on Netflix, right? Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. Allen Iverson, LeBron James, all of those documentaries. Yeah,
Tiger King, you know what I thought it was when people were talking? I thought it was regular people like that own tigers.
You thought that they were doing what?
I thought it was just like regular people like owning tigers in their house.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, it's crazy because each
I just don't get what the
like
hype is still. I watched
twist.
it, but...
Yeah. So you never watch, like when you get through all the episodes, you're like, wait, what? And then you're just like, wait, what did I just put myself through for all of these hours? But it's crazy, like when you see the documentary and Free Joe Exotic, Carol Baskins killed her husband. Yep.
Yeah, and Ozark, I was into it the first 2 seasons, but this new one, everyone's saying it's like amazing, and I just can't. I watched like 3 episodes, or I struggled
to get past the first 2 episodes of Ozark, and now that I'm in season 2, episode 5, it's a struggle. Like I watch it to go to sleep. Honestly, I'll just put on the TV. Yeah. It's kind of like snooze off to.
I think it's because you have to like really pay attention.
You really have to pay attention, but also I feel like a lot of the story is just dragging. No offense to any of the writers or whatever, but like it's definitely dragging. I'm only on season 2. Oh, I've watched Love is Blind. That was like a huge thing on Netflix as well. So yeah.
What else do you like to do in your free time?
I like to read because I have so many different interviews and stuff coming up. I've been doing my research. checking my emails for, press releases and confirmations, but really just taking time to chill. Like, I'm so used to like working nonstop, that it's kind of good to have this sort of peace about being home, obviously working from home, but also taking time to rest is so underrated. I see so many tweets about people saying, oh, you have to have a side hustle. You have to use this time to make $1 million by the time no, you don't have to use this time to do anything. You do what you want and you spend your time wisely. And I've just been chilling, honestly.
All right.
Reset.
What was I going to say? Oh, if the WNBA season happens, like, do you have any predictions? Like, who do you think's going to win the finals? I know it's super early.
Dallas, they have all of the picks in the Dallas. But honestly, the WNBA is going to be so interesting this season, right? So you have Breanna Stewart, Skylar Diggins, Diana Taurasi all returning. You have many players returning. And you have this stacked draft class that can just change how anything can go. WNBA free agency was crazy, right? We saw so many different moves and trades. And so if I could put my finger on it, I can't really make a prediction. It could go any way. But I do want to say that the Indiana Fever will try to make a playoff run. They will definitely make a playoff run with their draft pick and return of Victoria. Obviously, EDD. Washington Mystic can run it back. They can definitely run it back. But the Seattle Storm, we got Sue returning, Brianna returning, two great players in the W. So it could go any way, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to just, if the season happens, but if the season is, well, we know the season will be delayed, right? We broke the news the other day, the season is going to be delayed. So with the postponement of the Olympics, I don't think it'll affect the WNBA season that much if everyone does their job and their part in social distancing, and we can like flatten the curve, right, of the coronavirus spreading. And if the league starts in June, July, I think that it'll be business as usual.
Actually, a better one, since it's literally a fantasy. Who do you think would have won the women's tournament this year? There's no wrong answer.
It would have been a great matchup between the Gamecocks and Oregon, okay? I would have said that South Carolina would have upset Oregon, even though South Carolina is the #1 team in the country, and it would, like, that in itself is another live interview. Yeah. But I would have gone for South Carolina for the culture, Dawn Staley, not betting against that. That group of girls are super talented, definitely proved themselves this season.
What about what's something people don't know about you?
One thing people don't know about me. I don't know. One thing that people don't know about me, I can speak Portuguese.
All right. I didn't know that.
That's a fun fact.
I like that. And what about, do you have any questions for me?
I mean, how did you start your marketing company?
I gave you the short story, I guess. It's like programmed in my brain now. It's like the same thing, and I'm kind of getting weirded out by it when people ask me in the interviews I do, and I'm just like, even like when I say my intro to my other podcast, like it's like in my head.
It's about to pour down rain. I'm like looking on my balcony, and it's like, it just got real. Okay.
Yeah, I heard thunder before. I'm in Connecticut, so. So yeah, how did I start? I started the Twitter page 2011. 2011, yeah, when I was 19. Just tweeting about sports. Made T-shirts. Something like made T-shirts. I didn't have a logo yet. It was just like a font. Gave them out to people to promote it. Hired a graphic designer for this logo. It's still the same one today. It was a little altered. Pretty much I was doing influencer marketing before influencer marketing, reaching out to athletes to wear it, asking them for pictures if they didn't tweet it, or I was using Twitter heavy back in the day. I love Twitter actually more than Instagram. And yeah, just kept on reaching out to athletes to wear the gear. If they didn't tweet a picture, I'd ask for a picture. I'd tweet it out.
I need to get some of that for sure. Some of that gear. for
All
sure.
right.
But,
And then, yeah, one guy went to my high school. He was on the Redskins, and I sent it to him. I didn't know him. He was like 5 years older than me. And he gave it to all the Redskins players.
I think
And
it's
then,
good that you started your own platform. I feel like at the end of this, a lot of people will start to see or reevaluate what their actual purpose is and really try to tap into what they can do to create. And I think it's great that people are starting their own businesses or things based off their passions. Oh my God, do you hear that? The wind is going crazy. Y'all, I'm in New York right now, and it is pouring rain. Like, the clouds just came out. It's pitch black. Things are flying off my balcony.
Crazy. Yeah, so, from there, I pretty much, then I just started doing a lot of interviews, and then I'm doing a lot of marketing stuff for athletes now because I was doing it without knowing it, pretty much.
Nice.
And now I help athletes build their brands.
Well, I love all of your campaigns. I love all of your gear. I got to cop some.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on this live today. I hope that whoever tuned in, that you guys really took some great things away from this and that you support women's basketball, and that on April 17th, you tune into the Wnba Draft, but also this Sunday, tune in to the NBA's first ever horse challenge to, support relief for the coronavirus pandemic. So tune into all things women's basketball, but all sports in general. Like, yeah. Tune in.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I talked to one person. They told me they were watching marble racing.
Watching what?
Marble racing.
Marble?
Yeah, marbles. Like,
Interesting. Very interesting.
just search it on Twitter. You'll see.
I'll definitely look it up.
All right. Well, again, appreciate you coming on, and we'll be talking.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll
Have
see
a
you.
great day.
You too.